Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, William Robinson, coming at you live today with our special guest, Katrina Thomas. We're going to talk a little talk, love, and communication. I believe that all problems, circumstances, situations can be resolved through love and communication. We only got one life to live, ladies and gentlemen. It's a whole lot easier with love and communication. Okay, here we are today. I want to thank you. Thank you, guys. We have our guest today. We're going to give her a round of applause for joining us today. Okay, Miss Thomas, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, pretty good. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am originally from Ocala, Florida. My husband and I relocated to Georgia back in 2008, and we have family here. And I am honored that you invited me to your podcast.
No problem, ma'am. No problem, ma'am. You know, it's all about, love and communication. You mentioned your husband. Would you like to share the name of your wonderful husband to us?
Gerardney Oates, that's sitting over there.
Gerardney Oates, okay. Okay, he's a very lucky man. I tell you what, ma'am. So what brought us here today is that you have a special story. In today's world, it's hard for us to come by love. Love is something that's a foreign alien nowadays. People don't love the way we used to love.
Yes.
And when it comes to it's a very selfish world.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that is due to lack of communication. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't communicate the proper way. We don't express ourselves. So let me ask you, ma'am, when you think of the word love, what's the first thing come to mind?
The first thing come to my mind is action. I can say I love all day long, but if I don't show it, then it's just words.
So faith without works is dead.
That's right.
That's right. Amen to that.
That's right.
Amen to that. When you think of love, who was the first person to input unconditional love into your life?
Jesus, for one.
Jesus.
Yes.
So that being said, you met Jesus at an early age.
Yeah, I was raised in the church. I was given up for adoption, and my mom, who adopted me, she raised me in church. Always had me in church. So, and then as I got older, I swayed, but that's all I knew.
That's a great foundation, and I never knew that's a whole nother podcast within itself, Just think about the love of that parent to adopt someone else's child and to love them and to be mindful enough to raise them in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, to raise them in the Lord, therefore into the mature woman that you are today, and it's very important, that we pass that on.
Yes.
And do you have kids yourself?
Yes, I have 2 biological daughters that I also raised up in church, in God. I didn't want to raise them in just a building. I wanted to raise them knowing who God was.
And that's important. It's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes we think that the building is the church.
Mm-hmm.
The building is not the church.
That's right.
The people is the church.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we get confused with, we put on our best behavior walking through the doors.
Mm-hmm.
But God is omnipotent. He sees everything.
That's
He's
right.
everywhere, at all times, at all places.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important. That's a very profound statement. And so when you think about, you say you raised your daughters in the church.
Mm-hmm.
So how did it get to the point? Well, first of all, share your story. Share your story of this battle. You just went through some battles. I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
I'm going to put a picture up.
Okay.
Now, I went searching through your Facebook, and I went to gathering up some few things, and I'm going to put a few pictures up, and you tell me what it means to you.
Okay, I will do.
First picture.
So that picture, I always, when I started this battle, or when I started David and Goliath, I thought about how no one would go up against Goliath in the word. But David, little David, was trusted by God. You know, when they brought the brothers, they were like, no, that's not the one. His brothers, no, that's not the one. But it was little David who they probably didn't even think would be able to stand up against the giant. And I knew when I started this, it was going to be major giants.
And in this battle that you had to fight, would you care to share and explain exactly what battle?
Yeah. I have 2 grandchildren, and I've been in their lives. Actually, me and my husband been in their lives since they were born. The oldest one, we pretty much took care of. And so, for whatever reason unknowns to me, they were taken out of our, we hadn't seen them since May of last year. And it was an emotional roller coaster because I would reach out, my husband would reach out, and it was just always excuses.
Right.
I'm just going to be real. I didn't understand it. You know, I would text my daughter. But flip the switch. I don't know what the reasoning were through this time. And I went through a lot of emotional things. I got into after my mom died, and I went through that with the kids. Then my daughter reached out to me, hey, Mom, one day and forever we gonna be close again. She told me she loved me. And I said, I love you too. The door is always open. And then her husband texted me a video, and that's the last time I was able, and my husband picked the kids up from her husband. But I don't know what happened. Why I couldn't see the kids.
Did you reach out and did you ask her specifically?
I didn't ask her why I couldn't see the kids, but I asked, well, when can I see the kids? Or can I come by? Can we come by before we go to Florida? And it was just different, like excuses. We ain't gonna be home. And I don't know what happened. I do know that when my daughter got married in 2019, and I'm just gonna be real, it was always confusion. And I would share with my husband, I was like, he don't like me, and I haven't done anything.
You say he doesn't
my
like
daughter's husband. I did, and I'm just gonna be real. When she met him, because of her previous relationship, I asked her to wait to marry him. You know? And I asked her, I said, Nika, you don't know him. Get to know him first. And that was taken.
You know, a lot of times we as parents, we try to protect our kids because we have been there.
Right.
And you know, I can only speak from a man's perspective, but you know, I have 2 daughters and a son, you know, and I tell my son's mother, sometimes you got to let him touch the stove. You know, it's in your nature to be a protector. You know what I mean? You know, and nature, just the way God created us, a man and a woman thinks different. We was created for different purposes. You know, and it was very natural for you to do that. Not nothing against the young man per se. It was just more so to protect your daughter.
Yes.
But also, never forget, you raised her in the church. And you know, and as we know, you know, we don't know whether we're here today or tomorrow. And if she's going to be in a relationship, it's better to be married. And just hope and pray that she stand on the vows that she professed before Jesus Christ, and the things that you train her up in the ways of the Lord,
Right.
And I think that, we talk about communication, and now that you sit here today, do you think there was something different? If they think, looking now, could you think is it a better way you could have communicated how you felt?
Possibly, but I don't, because I think we end up just texting. So I don't know my personality, I'm just direct. And sometimes my directness can be taken as being controlling.
But being direct, in my world, I say, well, that's the bottom line. And the bottom line is the bottom line. The bottom line, you want to see your grandkids, so if this, gentleman or daughter, whatever's going on, something is taking place between you and your daughter in the relationship. It had to be a turning point. And sometimes in relationships, we have a tendency to have offended someone without knowledge of it. And that's where communication comes in, because if they don't communicate it to you,
I won't know.
You won't have knowledge of it. And you're ignorant. Ignorant means lack of knowledge. And sometimes, during those time frames, we have to, as the parent, my kids tell me, well, Daddy, you have a nonchalant attitude. To me, I'm allowing them to be an adult. I understand that my correction of them or my instructions is just a opinion. They get to make their own choice. And to me, I'm respecting their adulthood. But inside, they want more. You know what I mean? By their comments, but sometimes we have to, I would have came over. What's going on, baby? Baby, let me, honey, I'm going to take a Friday off and I'm going to go to lunch with your daughter. I'm going to sit down and have lunch with her. I'm going to get her. And sometimes, we know the world today. Sometimes, a lot of times, the kids nowadays, they're a lot different than what we were.
Yes.
I seen a thing on Facebook the other day. It was a broom, a stitching cord, a switch, a belt, and a clothes hanger laying on the floor. Water hose laying on the floor. They say, this is the difference between my age and the kids today, the Bible tells us you spare a rod, you spoil a child. But it's the communication, and the love that we have for our kids. We have to be cautious with them, because kids are more sensitive now than what they used to be. I don't know the age of your daughter, and sometimes when it comes to a spouse, we all sensitive to our spouses. It's like, it's like you take your husband. It's maybe you may have a relative that don't agree with something, but you're not asking for them to agree. That's your husband. And they may mean well, and sometimes we are blinded by love. But I'd rather have love where there's little than no love where there's a lot. And I think that, so how's your relationship now with the daughter?
It's not good.
It's not good?
No, it's not. I would want to have meetings with my husband and her. I like to get to the bottom line, like what's the problem? But no, it's not good. I decided a family member encouraged me that I needed to look into laws, because my grandkids wanted to see me. And their parents knew they wanted to see me. And at first I was like, nah, just as long as I can talk to my grandson, I'll be okay. But when he reached out to me and said, Mama, when can we come see you? And that just did something to me.
And you know, I might take a couple of stripes for this, but you know, women could be bitter, you know, and that means mom, daughters, and even ourselves. Even I can be bitter, you know, and there's been times, you know, my story is I've done 18 years in prison, and for a long time I was not there to raise my kids, you know, but my oldest daughter have a child, so I have a grandson. And there's been times where, you know, me and her may not have saw eye to eye. And during that time, I'm not seeing my grandson, you know, and that bothers me and that hurts me, you know. And I commend you because sometimes even me, as much love as I have inside of me, there's been times where I say, well, I mean, I can't make her, that's her child. You know what I mean? And my wife, and we pray every night at 9 o'clock, and she would take over the prayer. She would say, babe, I'm going to pray tonight. And she would pray for that situation, you know, and it would touch me, you know. And I miss my daughter, I miss my grandson, you know, but even God himself doesn't force us to love him.
That's right.
So what can we do? You know, but you know, we confess to be Christians. The definition of Christian is Christ-like. So you know the old question, what would Jesus do? You know, we just love through it. You know, and I continue to love. You know, and I know that no matter what, my daughter, my kids know when they dial our phone number, I'm gonna answer. And as soon as I know who it is, I'm gonna say, Daddy, I love you. You understand what I'm saying? They know that I love them. You know, so I can understand that, you know. But like we say, we only have one life to live. You know, and life is a whole lot better with talk, love, and communication.
That's
you
right.
know, and I know you love your daughter. You know, if you love the grandchild, you love the daughter. You see, being a grandparent brings out a different part of you. You know, we think that we love the children. We love the children. Well, when them grandkids come in, it's something. It's something special, and what's so special is that we see our child in that child. So all of those memories flood back when your daughter used to do the same thing. She might walk a certain way, or always did this when she was a little girl. Now you seen it in your grandson, and that may be what you miss more than all, because I know you miss your daughter. You know, and being a parent, I learned a lot from my kids. You know, my kids tell me sometimes, like I say, I could be stubborn. My kids say, but yes, Daddy, you the parent. You the parent, Daddy. Like, well, what that mean? But Daddy, you should be the one. You're the grown-up person. And I have to think about that. And I say, you know what, son, you're right. You know,
how old is your son?
My son is 20 years old. I have a 20-year-old son, a 21-year-old daughter, and a 29-year-old daughter.
I'm kind of on the fence about that statement. And yes, we're the adult, but in order for a relationship to work between two people, it has to be that same respect level. You can't expect me to be the bigger person in a matter when you're attacking me.
That's correct.
I'm on the fence with that, especially when they're adults. Now, if you're, you know, my daughter's 31 years old. So some things, I've been ostracized during this during this case.
Are you struggling to afford rent?
You should be the
gas,
bigger
groceries,
person.
and
You should be.
bills?
No.
Picture getting up to $1,400 every month.
If you want to
All you
respect, I apologize to my girls for things that I may have done, things that but at some point, you gotta reciprocate what you're looking at. And a lot of our younger, that generation in the 90s, they feel entitled. They feel like they can come at the parents the way they want to, with the disrespect.
There's no consequences.
With no consequences. And I must admit that I allowed, as I raised my daughters, because me and my mom didn't have a real relationship, mother-daughter. And I always wanted a mother-daughter relationship. And a lot of times, our younger adult children, they play on us. So we have to, that right there I'm kind of on the fence about.
And, I can understand, like you say, you was adopted. So, even though your adopted mother may have loved and adored you, it's just something about knowing that, where's my mama, what happened, why did, and it's a yearning that we all have. And therefore, when you have kids, you might have been more of a friend. Sometimes you try to, I'm going to make sure I love them. I'm going to make sure I do what, you know what I mean? And we kind of
overcompensate.
Overcompensate. And, you would think that the child would appreciate that. And you would think that would bring you closer. Now, that statement, and I could agree with my son to a certain degree, but when that disrespect come in, it's absolutely a no-no. But when it's just certain things, I give them their space, but disrespecting, just talking back and these cuss words and these attitudes, and those things are non-negotiable. Because you first have to protect Miss Thomas. Because whatever they think they are, they forget who child they are. Most of the anger and the what you feel inside, you looking at the man you got it from. So you have to. We just have grown a little older and a little mature, and we're able to harness it.
Right.
We're able to, when it's about to take place, we can feel it and we can move away from it.
Right.
But I do wish for better days with you and your daughter. I just believe in my heart through and through the proper channels of love and communication, even that can be resolved. And I asked you earlier, when you think of love, who was the first person that showed you? You said Jesus. And that's the same love that it's going to take for this situation. But that don't mean it can't be done, because we know he can do all things.
That's true.
Through you. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. See, you can't do it within yourself because you feel like, I'm not taking this. I don't have to put up with this stuff. I don't got rights to my grandbaby. I'm fine with the grandbaby, but deep down inside, you're not. You're a mother. And it's times where I miss my daughter, during our spat time, and I want to reach out. But I was a little stubborn, and sometimes I would send a text, Daddy love you. I ain't getting that one back, but that's okay at the time. But I understand her because I understand me. She just like me. You know what I mean? She just like me, and the only difference is I may have a little more Jesus right now. I have a little more maturity. But I'm going to tell you, ma'am, I did 18 years in prison. And being away from family that loves you and that you love, and COVID came while I was in prison. So that's no visitation. You're going 2-3 years without seeing a family member. It's hard. and it makes me look at things different. You know, I love different. You know, my understanding, my reasoning is different. You know, and I understand that hurting people hurt people.
I pray.
So there's something inside, like you say, you like to pull things up from the root. So you getting custody, just cut the tree down.
Not custody, visitation.
Visitation, I'm sorry. Cut the tree down. You know what I mean? But those roots are still down in there. So the hard part is digging the roots. You may pay a man $50 to go cut the tree, but if they got to get that machine and go down there and pull it up from the root, you're going to be out of $200, $300. That's the hard part. I remember a scripture in the Bible. Jesus had healed a man. And Peter said to Jesus, Lord, don't you know the scribes and the Pharisees was offended at your saying? And Jesus said, every tree that my Father did not plant shall be pulled up and uprooted. See, when it's uprooted, it's never going to grow again. You don't have to worry about that. Sometimes in my own marriage, you know, my wife, like, you know, she would say, well, baby, I don't get mad after 2 minutes, I let it go. But the tree's still there. See, me, I'd rather sit down and let's get this hard part over with, because as a man, it keeps coming up, the same doggone tree, the same thing coming up. Let's go ahead and dig deep, get down here, pull these roots up, and we never have to worry about that again. And I don't know your daughter, ma'am, but she's hurting. Your experience in life tells you that there has to be a reason. You know? There has to be a reason, even from the beginning, even as the boil down to choosing a husband. You know, and that's a hard thing, you know? But that is a husband, and it says the two shall be one. But even if it's come to, you know, a man, you know, is the leader in the household, so if the problem lies with him, you know, maybe you and your husband, you go talk to him, or maybe your husband show up on his job and say, sir, can I, you know, with all respect, you know, sometimes we humble ourselves. If it takes us humbling ourselves and allow them to get that out, or if he want to feel inferior, let him feel inferior. But sir, I'm here on behalf of my wife and your wife.
My husband has done that.
You know, and sometimes, you know, but like we say, God don't even force us to love him. So when you don't done all you could do, sometimes you pray. But I just believe that we just must continue to love. We continue to love and communicate. Even if it's a text, that's persistent text. Mama love you. It's every morning, mama love you. Mama love you. You may be 3-4 months. You don't. It's one time I didn't talk to my daughter for 7 months. I only been home a year and a half. I was gone 18 years, and for 7 months out of a year and a half, I didn't speak to my daughter. And one night about 1:45, it was 1:43 exactly, my phone rang, and it was my baby. She said, Dad, I love you. You know? Now, you know, so you just, I wasn't bitter inside. I didn't despise her. I loved her. I missed her. I prayed, you know, and I just believed that if I do my part when it was a big family function, I would still text it. We're having a gathering over at grandmother's house, or if you want to come to the party, da-da-da-da-dee. You know, I did my part. You understand what I'm saying? And when her birthday came before the phone call, and I know she got to know, now Daddy surely ain't gonna miss my birthday. You know what I mean? And I felt like, I had to humble myself, humble my pride and whatever I had going on inside. That's my baby birthday. You know, and I went through the grandson, which is, you know, he's a kid. That's his mom. So, you know, what I did was I planned something for her through the grandson. Like he's taking, you know, he's a boy, so I'm teaching him how to be a gentleman. Open the door for your mother. How to order. Let her order first. You know, make sure she get, you know, and and those type things, but we just continue to press with love and communicate. And I think me and my daughter now is at a better place than we've ever been. And a lot of that, when they come back around, when God bring this relationship full circle, a lot of that, it's going to be gone, because she would appreciate the relationship that she had with Mama. Trust me. Now, one day when it happens, I want you to come back on this podcast, maybe hopefully with the daughter, and it'll all be funny. It'll all be, you know what I mean? All things, you believe in God, right?
I believe in God, however,
all things are possible.
That's true. But at some point, and I was going to ask you a question. When you continue, like you say, you continue. But when you're rejected continuously, at some point, you have to just let it go.
It's times where I tried to do things, and I would get a text back. It's not wanted. Don't do it no more. You know what I'm saying? The whole 9 yards. But that's hurt. But she eventually come around. She was like, "Well, Dad, I'm telling her, but the disrespect, baby, Daddy not putting up with this disrespect." And she say, "That's just my hurt, Daddy. You know I love you. That's my hurt. I don't know how to express it no way, because it's anger inside of her. You know what I'm saying? And she's hurting. One of the things in life is people say, if I say, Miss Katrina, that hurt my feelings. You say, well, that didn't hurt your feelings. See, that's the problem. You can't tell me I'm not hurt.
I agree with that.
This is how I feel. Now, what you do with how I feel tells me how you feel about me. So I can't tell her she's not hurting. I don't know what it's like for me to have went away for 18 years and she had to live through this life without me. I can't worry about what that happened to all the other men kids, all my daughter, my kids, because they understand the man that I am and they know life would have been better. And it's my fault that I left. You know what I mean? It's not that I chose to leave them.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, I was gone. And my kids are grown, but they still emotionally, kids, they fragile when it comes to me. And I have to understand that. And I have to humble myself to the point to where, I can understand that,
So can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
If your kids, we're gonna talk about that daughter. If she cussed you out, call you everything but a rock, she always just cuss you out like you was nothing on the street, would you still be trying to, or would you just back away? See, men are, women are emotional. God created y'all are different. But I can't believe that a parent whose child cussed them out, try to get them locked up, always trying to cause evil things, that parent is just going to be continually, okay, baby, I'm just not that mama.
When you were saying that, something came to my mind. First of all, most of my actions, I'm a very spiritual person. And the Bible speaks of us writing the Bible on the tables of our heart. And most of my actions are spiritual based. A lot of people may not understand why I do it, but it doesn't matter. And while you were speaking, it's a scripture came to mind. Greater is He
that is in me,
that is in you, Miss Katrina Thomas, than that is in the dog, the cat, the mouse, the horse, that is of the world. So if I'm of the world, I cuss and fuss, and you are a child of God, and we gotta drive to New York, either whoever spirit is the strongest, either I'm gonna act like you or you gonna act like me before it's over with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and with that being said, all of those things has happened. I have had those things done to me. But what I do is I walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walk away, I have learned that hurts them. That hurts them. But I look at it as though I don't want to get out of character.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are my child, and you forever my child. And I've been known to be pretty rough around the edges in my past self. So before I allow myself to get, I'm gonna walk away. I'm not gonna stand here and tolerate this.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that has happened a few times. But now it's to the point to where you're thinking about it, because you know if it happens, I'm gonna walk away. Not saying that it's gonna hurt her more than it hurt me, because it hurts me also. You understand what I'm saying?
But that's the love that she has for you.
And that's the love that I have for her.
Right.
And
it's reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
But there are instances, everybody's situation is different. And in this situation, it's not like that. I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah.
It's not like that. And my husband can vouch for this. So I back away.
But why? Why do you, why, now that you sit here and you contemplate this, why? It has to be something more than...
Why what?
Why is it like this? Just take me back. 18, 19 years old, you and daughter.
We were fine.
Everything fine. 21, 22.
We were fine. It was always disrespect. But I'm just going to be honest. You asking me why. It has a lot to do with who she's married to. He has control. When it came to my case, that was the only way I can take the control out of his hand to be able to. And yes, I agree. Married couples are one. And I think a lot of people in this world, even in my own marriage, people forget we one. We not two. If you want me to respect, I'm gonna just use my daughter and her husband and me and my husband. They want to handle us like we're separate. And there are other people that want to handle us like we're separate. But you want us to give you the respect that you're one. That can't work. So out of all this time, even my husband reached out to him. They want to give him okay to spend time with the kids and made excuses. So to answer your question, it's the husband, that Goliath spirit. He was the one. She passed the control to him. And he was blocking me, along with her, from seeing my grandkids. So that's why I took the stand. It was just, I didn't want to have to go here. But I believe, and I said this before, God uses me to help others. There's a wisdom in my life that I don't even understand. And I'm a paralegal. And it's about the grandkids. We should be able to put our, whatever the issues are, aside and be concerned about the grands. If people always saying it take a village to raise a children, take a village, then why are you cutting the village off? So the roots of the problem was the husband, and that was the only way I could get the control out of his hand, by filing this case.
So you believe that, men are logical creatures, and most of the time, manly men don't really hold, I used to be a very stubborn person, You know, I can know you all my life, but if you cross me, I can just act as it's like you didn't exist. But if you cross me, you know what I mean? And I don't know to what degree, you know, this gentleman may feel. You know, but I believe most of the time, men, you're not going to get them to see it unless they see it. Meaning, that being said, is I'm right until I'm able to see that I'm wrong. You know, and sometimes we have to do some things that we don't want to do, because just as hard as you fought to get visitation rights of your grandkids, your daughter was here before the grandkids, and you got to fight. The only difference is now you got the same giant, but for a different purpose. You agree? If it's the same giant, you know, which if you feel if he's the David in the situation.
No, he wasn't the David. He was the Goliath.
I'm sorry, the Goliath. I'm so sorry. If he was the Goliath when it came to the grandkids, he's also the Goliath when it comes to the daughter.
Right, but I don't have anything to do with that, because remember, they're one. So I don't interject with people's marriage, because me and my husband been married. It's the second time, and we've experienced and still experience people coming against your marriage. So when you experience that, you don't want to do that to somebody else's marriage. So I don't get into, hey, if he the Goliath of her, I have nothing to do with that. But when it comes to my grands, I had to fight for my grandkids. And that's what I did. At whatever cost, I was willing to stand up against the Goliath.
But if you'd rather not have to do
that, you know, you said you and your husband been married twice.
This is our second time.
On these settings here, and then uncheck this toggle to
you know,
default ending. Now, when
may I ask who filed for divorce the first time?
I did.
So that means that for whatever reason you decided that it was unrepairable. I can't take this no more. I'm not putting up whatever the situation, whatever it was. You decided to move forward with certainty, with certainty, because you filed for divorce. That means it's over. The two that we talk about, the one became two, right? But somewhere, for whatever reason, you decided, you know what? I'm gonna give this another shot.
Yeah, we was mature. We was more mature later on.
But at the time of the divorce, did you ever think that you would ever marry this same man again?
Oh no.
Okay. Now you tell me where I'm going at with this.
That I might be reunited with her.
That's right.
You can convert text to speech.
Now, I perceive my perception of this is that I see there's a little tension within you also, you know, and if we gonna pray, we have to just let it go. You know, I have this thing called, my granddad used to say 50-50 love. My granddaddy believed in 50-50 love. And he believed that I'm gonna love you just like you doing to me as I'm doing to you. But as I mature and I become a Christian, I no longer think it's 50-50 love. It should be 100-0. Because when the problem comes in, is that what we do is when we have expectations of someone, and when someone doesn't meet our expectation, we feel offended, angry, mad, upset, hurt, you know, jealous, and all of these things. So you love them expecting nothing in return. And when you get to the point where you can love expecting nothing in return, it doesn't matter what they do. Love shouldn't be conditional.
And I agree.
You know, Jesus, the same man that nailed him to the cross, he said, Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do. This man came and died. Just think about yourself. You say that you was raised in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, we get out, we think we grown, we want to go rip and run the streets a little bit. But he still loved you. Mm-hmm. He still spared you. You know what I mean? He still delivered you from all kind of sickness and hurt, harm, and danger. And hoping that you would come back. And you did. You know, so we have to love. We say it with our mouth. We all want to say, I love God. God said, if you do not forgive, you shall not be forgiven.
And I agree.
Period.
And also, I believe that we can love, we can forgive, but we don't have to vibe. We don't have to fellowship. I don't have to be in your prayer. Sometimes people can. I'm just be real. I'm not looking forward to no reconciliation. Too much damage. When a person just damage you and damage you and damage you and damage you and damage you, that person is not interested. At some point, like you say, walk away. I'm not interested in reconciliation. I love her because I have to love her. I forgive her, even the things that she's doing now. I forgive her. But when a person has done something to you for 20-something odd years and they don't see, when it comes to relationships, and I often say this with my husband when we talk about things, everybody have to own their truth. Mm-hmm. Like you said, okay, if your daughter tell you, okay, you hurt my feelings, and you say, no, I didn't do that, that lets you know, you said it, that lets you know how that person feels about you. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to grace, humility, you know, the different things that I'm seeing, when it comes to relationships, that go for husband, wife, it go for friends, it go for mother, daughter. Everybody have to own their truth. You can't just always push the buck off on the next person and don't own what you do. So what I have learned to do is stay away. And I've had people tell me, she gonna need you, and I get, I'm not interested. Need God. Go to the ones that, you know what I'm saying? Go to the ones that, go to somebody else. God is my witness. I had somebody, and I'm just authentic. I'm just real. I had somebody to ask me, you need to go on a fast for your daughter because of the influence she's under. I say that fast gonna be in vain. If I'm fasting for someone, I ain't saying I don't pray. I pray for my daughters. But if I'm not feeling to fast, why am I doing that? I want to pray, and I'm honestly, I'm good. I don't want no reconciliation. I just want my grands. I don't. Too much damage has been done. And continuously to this day. To the point that it could have caused me and my husband marriage. So when somebody intentionally, just because I won my case, because a lot of people thought I wasn't going to win. Mm-hmm. A lot of people was waiting for me to lose. But I kept saying, watch God, don't watch me. Don't watch me, watch God. I'm not interested in reconciliation.
Let me ask you something. Just so the people know, when you say won my case, okay, explain to them what are you speaking of?
I'm speaking of the grandparent right. Georgia has a grandparent right law. Florida has one. I looked at Florida's. I don't like what DeSantis is doing. We have to. It's different criterias for Georgia. Mm-hmm. You have to, it was like 4 or 5 different ones, and I really didn't want to go this route. I was hoping they would just let us see the kids. They knew they want to see us. Just let us see the kids. Mm-hmm. But they couldn't, and my grandkids wanted it. So I filed a lawsuit. I didn't bring it to Facebook. I filed a lawsuit. One day I tried to get in contact with my grand, and it was a man answer the phone. I said, "Is this?" No. And I told my husband, I said, "I'm not playing this game no more." I had already looked up the laws. I said, "I'm not playing this game no more."
Mm-hmm.
So I went. Things happened so fast. It shocked me. I went to work early that morning, like 6 o'clock that morning. I typed up the pleading. I mailed it out that day, UPS. It wasn't supposed to get there to that Thursday. It reached there the next day. They served her the same day. And that's how it got to Facebook.
How long did the process take from the filed into the final court?
I filed January 31st. And we just got the order last week on my birthday.
So that's a wonderful birthday present, huh?
Yes. I was so excited. It's been emotional. It was all kind of attacks against me. One uncle stopped talking to me. That out of all the people that one uncle really hurt me.
So when you say I won, so what exactly take place? What are the rights that you have now that you didn't have before?
Well, I can see them now. Actually, today was the first. I got the order last week. The judge, we had a hearing March 16th, and then she was supposed to present her witnesses April 6th. And she didn't want to. She had her little defenses. So we got the order last week on my birthday, on Friday. So I was able, so I get 1 week in a month. I have to go travel, pick them up, bring them back to our town. So I'm excited, and they are excited. They're excited.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's the joy of your loved ones. You know, and as we get older, you know, we appreciate the kids, the grandkids. We want to sit back and watch everybody run through the house and play in the pool. It's getting summertime, and I guarantee you, before this summer over with, a couple of those weekends gonna turn into you can bring them back Tuesday. You could bring them back next weekend. Watch. You watch and see. Sometimes I believe that kids act out. We're all just big kids. The woman that raised you, it's hard for you to lie to her and get away with it. She can look at you in your face and say, "Now, Trina, come on now. Mama, I know mama. Come on, boy, who you think you talking to, boy? William?" You know, so we're just big kids. In the same way she might have pouted when she didn't get her way when she was 10. She just pouting now. It's the control. It's the kids, I know you want this. And sometimes you have to act like it don't matter.
Oh, I did.
You have to act like it. You know what? You have to act like it don't matter. And eventually, sometimes you want to call. It's so many times I want to just, but it's like sometimes you know, when I was a stubborn man, you know, I remember times I would leave home after an argument, and sometimes I want to go back home bad. I'm missing home. You know, I'm out here, you know, I might be in the streets doing a little 1-2, but home is home. You know what I mean? And I want to go home. You know, I got kids, they're step kids. You know, my daughter, she was just a baby, but I want to go home. I miss walking in the door, Daddy. I miss it. But I was stubborn. I'm a fixer. I can't go. I got to make a break first. You know, so when you get to the point to where, oh, well, you know, you left these jeans out here. You know, okay, she breaking a little bit. You know what I mean? And sometimes we can be like that, no matter the age, you know, and we just have to love. We can't talk in today's world when the person that's believing Jesus and the person who don't believe in Jesus, if we're doing the same thing, no one can tell the difference.
And I agree.
You know, and it's hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. You know, what Jesus came to do. Let's think about this. In the beginning, God called Adam. It says he gave him dominion. That means ruler over the whole earth. He called every animal and named them, each and every one of them. It was his choice. Whatever he wanted to name them, he named them. Whatever he wanted to. It's your choice. Do what you want to do, bro. All this yours. You do what you want to do. All that you do is don't do. Don't eat off this tree. You know, and even Adam being the man, when you read the Bible good, everybody want to talk about the woman and the serpent. Adam was standing right there while the serpent talked to his wife. He allowed that creature at the time that stood upright to talk to his wife and deceive her into going against what God told him not to do. He didn't give Eve the commandment. He gave Adam the commandment. But Adam did the same thing we do now. When God confronted Adam, you remember what Adam said?
That woman.
The woman that you gave me.
Blame the woman.
The woman that you gave me. So sometimes we want to blame. So I'm saying that to say, don't look at what they're doing. We just got to do our part. You know what I mean? And for me, you know, as much as my kids miss me, I miss them as much, you know, because I had to humble myself so many times. Because when you're in prison, sometimes it's kill or be killed. You're in situations where it's kill or be killed. You know, and I made decisions based on, man, I got to get back home to my kids.
But you're talking about a set of kids that love you and want to be in your life.
But just think about coming home and that same kid look at you in the face and say some of the same things that's similar that you was expressing before. And it's like, well, only if you knew what I've been through to stand here before you. But to her defense, only if you knew what I went through while you wasn't here. You understand what I'm saying? That's her hurt.
And you have yours.
And I have my hurt. But together, we both are very prideful people. You know, and I understand her. And it's almost like, well, I understand her. And when she expressed to me how she feel and why she feel that way, well, I mean, I can see it. That doesn't mean I agree, and that still don't give you the right to do what you did, but I can see it, you know, and that's when we have to get to the point. But first, it has to be the communication.
Yes.
It has to be, Mama,
reciprocated.
This is why I hurt. Mama, this is why.
Well.
And also, from your standpoint, sometimes, you know, you don't think your baby, you don't think if you picked up the phone and she say hello, you call from a random number and say, baby, mama just wanted to call and tell you I love you. I talk to you later. And you hang up. You don't think that'll do nothing for her?
Not nothing. Not nothing. She's already said and posted, I'm dead to her.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't think and I appreciate what you're saying, but sometimes you won't, unless you actually see and live what I've lived, you won't even understand. My character witness went with me to court, right? And her words to me was, Trina, if I wouldn't have went to court with you, I wouldn't have believed none of the stuff that you say your daughter did. This situation with her it won't be like you and your daughter. I understand, I got a baby daughter, me and Dryden, she a daughter. We butt heads, and you know, well, you'll call me, you'll do this for me. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand in this situation. But when you have see, spirits is real. Demonic spirits is real. And it will not be. I'm just being. I'm not going to subject myself. I'm not going to try to. I'm not going to try to do what I used to do. That'll drive me crazy. They already talking about I'm crazy. I'm not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to subject myself to disrespect and disregard no more. I don't care if I'm naming the name of the Lord or not. The Bible also talks about shake the dust from your feet.
Yes, ma'am. It does.
And this is a situation, the dust from my feet. I love, I pray, but I got to get him to God.
Let me ask you something, ma'am. Remember you was telling me about a person came to you and said, fast, will you fast for? Was that a spiritual person that you respect in the Lord?
Yes, and when I broke that down to her, she understood where I come from. If God lead me, see, when it come to fasting, I remember during this time, and my husband there can vouch for this. Mm-hmm. God had me to go on a week's fast, no meat. God instructed that fast. Mm-hmm. He had a reason for that fast. Now, if God tell me, if God, not man, I don't care what title you have. If God say, daughter, fast for your daughter, I do it with a heartbeat. But I'm not just going to do it just because somebody tell me to do it. Because my heart.
I'm a very, you're a very strong-minded person.
Very.
And which is very good. It works in our favor.
And it could be 75%
of the time, but sometimes we could be so strong-minded on our own way until we don't want to hit other way. And understand when, you say, well, I'm not going to man. Everything that God does on this earth, he going to do through a man. Now I believe in, I'm going to follow my spirit. Now, if you're telling me something and my spirit telling me otherwise, in the end, I just got to stand before Jesus because I'm accountable for myself. When it comes to, if a spiritual leader comes to me, understand the spirits. We talk about the spirits. And with the spirits, the devil ain't going to never tell you to do nothing that's godly.
That's true.
It's never going to, fasting is breaking yokes and bonds. So he ain't going to never send nobody to tell you to go on a fast. And see, it's certain things. Remember, Jesus gave his disciples power to cast out spirits. And they went and they couldn't cast out spirits. They was casting out spirits to other people, and they got to this one man and they couldn't cast the spirits out. Remember that? And they came back and said, well, Lord, why couldn't we cast the demons out of this person? And Jesus said, this kind
come out by fasting and prayer.
Only through fasting and prayer. So it's, when I asked you in the beginning, what does love mean to you? And you said actions. To me, it's sacrifice. And because if you're not willing to sacrifice yourself for someone else, how could you love them? And whether that's sacrificing, humbling ourselves. Sometimes I don't look at women like most men. Women is, sometimes y'all have it hard. You know what
Very.
I'm saying? And just to be an adult and to willfully humble yourself to another adult that might not be treating you right half of the time. You understand what I'm saying? That's sometimes hard. To be a 40-year-old woman or whatever, a 50-year-old woman, and want to do this, and your husband say, no, I don't. And sometimes we may not explain why. Our no is our no. And for you to humble yourself enough to just accept that, it's hard, and I said before, a lot of things that men do, we can't take it if a woman did it to us.
Amen.
Women are way more emotionally stronger than men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, y'all are more emotional, but emotionally men can't take, you know, and when we hurt, we act out. We you know, to testosterone, we anger, you know, that's how we express our hurt. And, you know, as parents, you know, I just believe, just like we talk about just talking, and you got to back it up. I'm finna show something. I want you to read this to me,
Okay.
if you would. I want you to look at the screen and read this to me.
Some people are going to love you no matter what you do, and some people will never love you no matter what you do. Go where the love is.
Okay, are you familiar with that post?
I'm pretty sure I posted that.
Okay, and what prompted you to post that post?
I don't even remember when I posted that post, but I deal with so much hatred for whatever reason by people. And so I want to go, I rather go where love is felt. I don't want to just always be problems.
Okay, let's break this down. They say some people are going to love you no matter what you do. Okay, what do you think about a person that'll love you no matter what you do?
They gonna love me unconditionally. Take me who I am for who I am. They're gonna just love me.
Right. Is there someone in your life that fits that description? You think it's someone in your life that loves you no matter what you do?
I got quite a bit of people that love me like that.
It feels good, don't it? To know that.
But they don't. They'll tell me when I'm wrong.
Right. You know, I tell my kids sometimes, you know, I always allow my kids to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want them to be afraid to tell me something. You know, I allowed them to say, well, I want to talk to my friend, Daddy, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to talk to their friend first, but then Daddy's going to always speak too. You know what I mean? Just who they want to talk to first, but Daddy's going to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And I do that because I don't want them to hide nothing. I want them to be able to, who's going to tell you more than me? I tell my daughters, you want to know about a man, you come ask Daddy. You know, don't feel uncomfortable telling me about, I don't care what, I don't did it already. You understand you're an adult and you going to do grown people things, but you need to know about a man, you ask Daddy. Mm-hmm. He don't love you like I love you. Mm-hmm. And you know, with that being said, when a person loves you unconditional, no matter what you do, it feels good to know that someone's in your corner. I tell my kids, I don't care if you killed 5 people. You call Daddy. I'ma love you no matter what. I was sitting on the bunk with a guy in prison, a white guy. And he said to me, man, I wish I was black. I said, well, why you say that, man? And he would come from a wealthy family, but his family turned his back on him because he went to prison. Mm. He said, man, no matter what, black people stick by their people. They love their family no matter what. And I said, I see his point. He said, man, you got guys that did X, Y, Z, man, they still get family. Their family still come see them. Our people do that. So it feels good to love unconditional, no matter what they do. Now I know as I'm saying this, you already know where I'm
going. I know you're going.
You already know where I can see it on your face.
I can love you, but I ain't gonna let you abuse me.
And I agree with that. That's why I tell you what. You love your daughter?
I love her.
If it was a perfect world, would you want to have a relationship with your daughter in a perfect world?
Right now, or like
in a perfect world,
minus all of.
In a perfect world, if moving forward in a perfect world, do you think you can get past? Let's say if she's willing to, if she say, "Mama, I'm sorry, I want to move forward." Do you believe that you can do that?
I can forgive her, because I've already forgiven her. moving forward, I can have a cordial relationship with her, but it would never be a close relationship because we done been down there. She's never really apologized, but going forward, if she came to me and apologized, and this is the honest truth, I forgive you, but there'll never be closeness.
And you know, some people are wired different. You know, when you cross them, you know, and I'm one of those people myself. And you know, I understand what you mean by you love them. I believe this: you love the person, you hate the spirit. And being a spiritual, I don't know how spiritual you are, but you know, when a certain level of spiritual maturity takes place within us, we understand spiritual things. So we know it's not the baby that you raised.
Right.
We know that it's not her. It's a spirit. So if we know that God delivers us, so if she becomes delivered and the spirit leaves her, you have your baby again. That same little girl that you raised. I mean, sometimes it's hard to get those spirits out of them. You ever seen The Matrix?
I probably watched it, but just I don't remember what it was all about.
That movie, it tells us so much because the spirit goes into the person. They're running around shooting each other because the agent go into the person, which is the spirit. But when you shoot the person died, but the agent just gets up and go into someone else. And that's what a spirit does. Mm-hmm. So there's power in the fasting. And to go back to the point, when Jesus died on the cross and he was resurrected, how did he come back? What form did he come back in?
Spirit.
No, he came back. What form? How did the people see him?
Oh, human form.
He was in a form. Mm-hmm. And they didn't know who he was because his spirit was in that man that looked like this or looked like that. And it wasn't until he said something to say, hey.
That's Jesus.
Okay, so, you know, just my advice, ma'am, never take lightly, especially if it's someone that you respect spiritually. Because even the Bible was written by a man. Mm-hmm. You know, God gives us intuition and God sends people to us and certain things to, just like God, you say you help people and you know if God tell you, you know that God told you to go do X, Y, Z and you do it. Now it's up to them to accept it. Well, I ain't listening to no woman or no man, no person. But God gonna speak, everything he do on this earth is gonna be done through a person. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we never want to take that lightly. But I want you, you know, we're gonna wrap this up. I would like for you, you know, if you would love to, you know, I'm gonna show you a picture here, and I want you to tell me what this picture means to you.
My grandkids. I love them boys. I miss them boys.
Okay, I want you to look directly into that camera right there and tell them boys something.
Which one? This one here?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to let them know that I love them. I can't wait to see them. I'm so excited about getting to see them.
So this will be your first weekend seeing them?
I was supposed to get them this weekend, but I got to wait till June because I get one weekend a month. Okay. So June, Lord's will nothing happen, I would be going to pick them up.
Okay, so these continuing pictures of you and your grandkids, you know,
I love them. I love them boys. They texted me yesterday. I was going to the grocery store and they text me, I love you. And I just broke down and started crying. And I was like, I'm trying not to cry. Like, why? Why did I have to go this route?
Yeah. But you fought, you know, the Bible says those who endure to the end. You know, one of my favorite scriptures is, he that faint in the day of adversity, his strength is small. And you know, and I wanted to commend you for the love that you have for your grandkids. Because most people, it's a rare love. And most people, well, those hurt kids, you know, they just give up and say, I can't make her, even myself. But you fought because you love your grandkids. And that's special in today's world. You know, it's very rare. You know, people don't love like that anymore. People don't fight for their kids anymore. We fight our kids. Instead of fighting for our kids, we fight our kids. And some of us, you know, but it shouldn't be a surprise. The Bible that we read tells us that this generation is going to be like this. So why is it a surprise? But that's why we have to continually be prayed up and steadfast and fast. You know,
You still hitting on that fast?
Because
I'm going to think about it.
fasting is fasting. Think about it. The Lord Jesus Christ gave his disciples power and authority to cast these demons out.
I know.
But certain spirits, Jesus said only. That's the only way is through fasting.
And I like the joke though, for real.
Uh-huh.
Why I got to be fasting for? Why somebody else can't fast?
Hey, think about it. You know what? If you think about this, fasting got us all, food got us into sin in the first place. Remember?
Oh Lord Jesus.
Food is the cause that got us into sin in the first place. You know, I'm just saying, and you know, you brought up fasting, what the lady said,
Yeah.
and the way you describe this situation, you know, it may take more than he say fasting and prayer. So you say you've been praying, but you might have not have fast for this. That's just a suggestion. He said only through fasting and prayer. So maybe, you know, even if it's a 24 hours.
I do pray that she gets delivered. I'm not saying, you know, I'm praying that she gets delivered. But I'm to the point now, I got to save me.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, I got to save me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm broke down, I can't go fasting for nobody else. I've been in a fight.
Yeah.
I'm fighting demonic forces that's been against me since this case. So I'll think about it. I think about it. But I pray that somebody else gonna fast for her too.
Okay. I tell you what, ma'am. I believe, you know, so much in the power of fasting and praying.
I do too.
That when you decide to fast, if it's okay with your husband, you call me, and I'm willing to stand in the gap with you and fast along with you for this deliverance, because it's nothing like family. You know, it's so many times that you just don't know when the last moment comes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's going to hurt. Most of the time when you go to a funeral, and the ones that's crying and hollering the most are the ones that didn't do their part. That's the truth. You know, that's why they hurt so bad, because they know that it's over. You will never get to make up the time that we miss. You know, and life is just too short. People think life is forever, but life is short. We 50 already. It's crazy. You know, we've been living 50 years. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You know, me and your husband were talking about times from 30 years, 35 years ago. You know, just wow, you know. I mean, so forever is not forever. You know, and those same grandkids that you love and adore, they wouldn't be here if it wasn't from her.
And I get that.
You know, and you can't help but see her in them. I know you do. You have to. You know what I mean? And that same love that they have from sometimes it may be them. Call your grandma. It may be her. Y'all talk to your grandma this week? Call your grandma. But pride got Satan kicked out of heaven. Pride
God in
is
heavens
serious.
knows that I don't have pride. But I've tried. And
Those who endure to the end. I'm speaking from, you know, the Bible tells us if we sisters and brothers in the Lord, I got the right to say that because
Yes.
I know what our Father tell us to do, to love no. Okay, just always remember, ma'am. Even if you just repeat this over and over, just put little sticky papers up along the house, you know, in the mirror in the car. If you do not forgive, you shall not be forgiven.
I've forgiven.
He say, with the same measure that you forgive, that shall be met to you. Meaning, well, I'm gonna forgive him just a little bit. I'm gonna forgive him, but I ain't gonna. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be reciprocated the same way because we go to God every day. We go to him every day. You know, if we just cleanse ourselves, and sometimes you're right, you have to turn inwardly in order to get your strength. You know what I mean? I tell my, you know, if I can't help myself, I can't help them. You know, and it seemed like it's hopeless, you know, and it's times where I was saying I'm saying the same thing you saying. But my ex-mother-in-law, that lady prayed and that lady fast and telling me it's gonna be, you watch and see, it's gonna like, ma'am, I don't know. I'm telling you, you know, I mean, just like I was, I understand, you know, I'm thinking it's 7 months.
Yeah.
Zip. I reach out, you know, nothing, or a dirty thing back. Don't want my phone. You know what I'm saying? And I just take it on the chin. I go on. You don't think I missed my man? I got a grandson. I was in prison my son whole life, so I didn't get to raise a boy. You know, that's every man's dream. You know.
So let me ask you a question before we end this.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we forgive, but does that when we forgive, do God require us to continue to go back in a situation that could potentially be just opening up a wound again? Or can we just forgive, you know, if we see them, yes, you know. I have that sincere question because sometimes, you know, this wasn't, I don't remember this is talked about in church, you know, as I was coming to church. But when you forgive, do you have to subject yourself to it? And I'm just not just talking about my daughter or me.
Right,
or
just in
general.
Yes, ma'am.
Do God require us to get back into fellowship with that person? Or you just forgive and you know, if you see the person, you love them, or you just, you know.
You know, well, biblically, it says he casts our sins far as the east is from the west, which is never ending. You know, if you truly forgive someone, you have to forget it.
Right.
Which is, you know, the saying in the world is, I forgive you, but I don't forget it. You know, and it's some things, you know, even with myself, it's people that I encountered during my prison stay that I would have never been around in my life outside of being forced to be around these people. And I didn't want to go back to I was always cautious of myself because, you know, if you don't love, if you outside of love, you ain't walking with God. The Bible says God is love. So if a person did me wrong and I choose not to fellowship with that person, I would not, like, I may not fellowship with them, but I'm not rude. I'm a good morning, conversation is great. I'm not rude to them, but that doesn't mean I'm going to say, come on, let's play chess together. But I never miss an opportunity to minister to the person, to show them God's love. You know how many guys despise me? Just like you say, there's so many people come against me because the Bible tells us, Jesus says, if you was of the world would love his own. But because I have chosen you out of the world will hate you. But he said, remember, it hated me first. If you trying to be like him, and they hated him so much, they killed this man, crucified this man. And if that is what you're striving for, hey. So therefore, with that being said, the word envy is really when they admire you, but it don't go their way. You know, it's so many people, they may want to be your friend, But when you don't receive them the way they want to be received, it turns into bitterness and enviness. But they really like you. You understand what I'm saying? They really want to be your friend, but you're not friends like you was with Tammy or, whoever else. So it turns into bitterness. But you never miss a time to show forth God's grace and mercy. I just believe that. I just believe that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Either I'm going to act like you or you going to act like me. You know what I'm saying? If you continually walking in God and you showing forth love and whoever is showing forth bitterness, either you going to give up and say, man, bump them, and you going to be bitter like them, or they going to say, you know what, that lady ain't did nothing to me. I know I'm wrong. Because they know they're wrong. The person that, you know what I mean, they know that that lady ain't did nothing to me. And if they continue to be like that, you just continue to walk in your light and let them have their undercover thing. But that doesn't mean, it's so many times, ma'am, I know that this person, they be the people from home, not the people from other cities, the people from Ocala with me. Man, you went to kindergarten together, but you despise me. For what? But you will come and act, I don't know this. You don't know that I know that you feel this way. But I never show you no different. And a guy came to me and said, man, why you talking? Why you let him have a suit? See, that seemed real simple and ignorant. It's just a suit. Why you gave him that, man, and he talk about you? You know what I mean? I could act like he act, but then that same guy, I've been going out of prison, that guy still talking, man. It was a guy, man, and that guy really was real good. That guy really was in the Bible. They make people think that Jesus is real. You have to show them that it's real. I got guys calling me from prison right now today when I sat on the bed and told them, man, don't you forget William Robinson, man. People go home, man, I'm going to reach out to you, bro. I'm going to look out for you. And people lie to people all the time. It's people that I ain't seen in 5 years. But I found them, looked them up, sent them my phone number, and then people call me. And I asked them, man, anybody told you they love you today, man? They know, man. They call me when they hurt. They be hurting. They hurting. You know what I'm saying? And some of our young men, your daughter is hurting. And she don't know how to express it. She don't know how to. Just imagine the hurt that you felt. You had a woman that loved you. And the hurt that you felt. Just to know that, why did mom give, you know what I mean? The adoption thing. And you had love. And when she had love, and then to have that taken away, my daughter tell me, she said, Daddy, you my best friend.
Aww.
And I'm thinking, baby, you just cussed me out. Like, you know what I mean? But she said, that's my hurt. That's how much I love you. You know what I mean? A person that she don't care about, she don't get out of character like that about. Who cares if this person don't like you? Who cares? But when it's someone that you love, it's a different story, And I just, if you would, ma'am, if your daughter happened to look at this podcast, this is Talk, Love, and Communication, if she happened to look at this podcast, ma'am, if you wish to, if not, I understand. If you could look into this camera here, and just give some words to your daughter, some encouraging words.
I do not wish to at this time.
Yes, ma'am. I respect that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank my guest. We're going to give her a round of applause today. Okay, this is your host, William Robinson, I want to thank you guys for watching the show, Talk, Love, and Communication. Once again, all situations, circumstances can be resolved through the power of love and communication. We got one life to live. It's a whole lot easier through love and communication. Thank you guys for joining me. I would like for you guys to like, subscribe, follow this podcast. And we out. If no one told you they love you today, William Robinson loves you. Thank you very much.